great art and craft in that coffee and Ciarain thing, even the intro and all that kind of thing. The way it's put together is.
And is it you?
Upperchurch boy here.
Upperchurch. Yeah. Imagine, so
Big up to Upperchurch, South African crew, man.
Yeah.
Don't know the rude boy.
So this guy, he's from South Africa, living in London, and Hugh is accusing him of being from Upperchurch.
There's definitely Upperchurch blood there somewhere.
He really, I think you're definitely a Shanahan supporter here, mate.
No, he knows all.
He's slipping it out. He's slipping it
Under
out.
the Devaney.
Welcome back to Everything from Nothing, Ireland's most mobile. We're in an abandoned house. We've broken into a place to interview Ciarain Shanahan, to have a conversation with him, who's from Thurles. But would you say you're from Thurles or Upperchurch?
Thurles.
Yeah.
Thurles. My family's all from Upperchurch, but I take all the fame, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just go to Thurles.
Yeah, that's mad. Yeah, we didn't break into anywhere. This is a hotel that you're staying at because you're fighting tonight. Ciarain's actually fighting our one of our past guests and a friend of the show, Sam Devaney. And what's the fight's tonight, is it?
The fight is tonight, yeah. We're fight number 4 on the main card. So the show starts at 3 o'clock. First fight's at 3:30, and then the main card starts at 6.
Yeah.
So I should be on probably because his brother Liam is fighting he's the first. Is he the first fight? I think Liam's the first fight. Yeah, his brother is opening up the main card, and then we're the 4th fight in to the main card.
God, there's some amount of fights at. Like, is it always at those events? Like, is it?
Well, yeah, like Muay Thai shows, they predominantly pack in a lot of fights. They kind of have like the lower class fights at the start. When I mean lower class, I mean like some fights won't have elbows included or knees to the head. So like they divide Muay Thai into class. So you've got you've got A, B, and C class. Then you got ones below that as well. But on shows like this, you kind of just keep it to A, B, and C class. So C class is no shin pads, but no knees to the head, no elbows. B class, no shin pads, knees to the head, no elbows, and then A class then, which is what me and Sam are fighting, which is elbows, knees, no shin pads, and that's it.
Whoa.
That's mad.
And can you do anything like with that?
Well, yeah, so you can do anything that is a form of strike with your fist, your elbows, your knees, and your shins. And you can clinch, obviously, as well, so you can manipulate the head and pull and all that kind of stuff. So.
And have you and Sam both fought in that category before, yeah?
So actually, no. So me and Sam. So Sam fought a guy who I know very well over in London. His last fight, which I believe was a draw, and I believe that he had quite a good fight against him. Probably should have went his way. However, I didn't watch the whole thing, but that was his first day class, and then my first day class was just recently when I fought Dale Kingston there in Oxford. Right.
So this is both your second one?
Both our second
That's
day class.
interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a very very well matched off fight in the terms of A class. However, I've been doing it, I'd say, considerably a lot longer than he has, but I've had a bit of time out as well during that time. So in that 5 years that I was out, I think Sam had just got into the scene and started getting good at kickboxing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
what happened that you took some time out? Like, what was that?
You know, I was doing kickboxing from 14 to 19, and in that time, as you know, I trained out at Thurles Kickboxing Club for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Got presented a good opportunity over in London with a lad called Chris Knowles, and he was like, look, trying to have a scrap at me, and he offered me one in Pro Rules, which is C class, and I wanted to go somewhere with kickboxing that, and it wasn't as popular going pro in kickboxing, especially in Thurles. You couldn't really get the opportunity as much in Ireland. That's just the way it was then. Now it's way bigger and better.
Yeah.
It's great to see that they have got pro fighters out there now. But then, obviously I went over to London and that was it. And then I found drink, women, found all that stuff. And then it just, a few things got tough.
drinking women in London.
Oh, stop, enough. But then a few things got tough then, you know, after I had my last fight at 19. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to take some time out, see what I like, see what else I want to do. And then turns out, I need to do this.
What brought you to London anyway?
Fighting. Yeah. So my father was working over and back in London in the construction industry. And I have family over in England anyway. So I was over and back kind of all throughout my life, you know. And then I just said to my father, I was like, look, I want to get out of Thurles. I don't want to be here anymore. I was like, can you take me? And then he said, look, you can leave, but you have to work, you have to earn. So...
You don't. I noticed like sometimes your accent, right? Like when I watch your videos and stuff, like I can still hear that pure Thurles, but then it like do you find you're slowly? I can sometimes hear it slowly becoming like the English.
It'll never become. It'll just adapt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. It becomes
Like,
your own.
Yeah, like I think.
Mix.
I think that was the funniest part when I left, and I used to come back. People say, "Oh, you sound awful English," and like it used to bother me. Like, it used to bother me. I used to like get like offended. Like, oh my god, it was my accent. But I think now it's just life. You just move on.
Suits
Like, you're adapting to different cultures, different people. You know, not everyone's going to understand a thick as fuck accent. You know, but at the same time, it's still there. It won't go anywhere. You know what I mean? It's
you're
not
better off. To be honest, what's stopping us is like no one can understand our podcast.
That's
So nobody, you know, they can't understand our accent.
Start interviewing more English people. They go, what?
I was over there for 7 years, but I think my friends used to be listening for me to slip. Like to slip any word, say any word that sounded a bit English, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, you've changed. Oh, you know what did you say? It's like a microscope on your accent, isn't it?
Yeah, 100. And it's just that first thing that everyone expects is to hear that little flaw. Oh, you don't sound Irish anymore.
But then you just own it and you try and piss them off, like say Boxing Day. And
I just start
like
speaking in English accent. Like, yeah, you're all right, mate. You're all right. Yeah, you're all right, Bob. Yeah, all right.
That's right. Yeah.
It's class though, isn't it? Like as in England, like people are friendly and it's. I liked it. Like I thought people were dead sound compared to what I was expecting from school. Like going over.
I think we're taught a lot different. I mean, like I'm grateful that I have a lot of family and I know a lot of people over in England. So I was never really sucked into that kind of stuff, you know. But like it's actually when you go over there, like the welcoming you get there is fucking bigger than anywhere else you get. I mean, it's just like, oh my god, you're Irish. Wow, say this, say that.
Yeah.
Like they're just in love with it. But like it's cool. Like I mean, there's a good respect there, and I think it's the same like when English people come over here. You know what I mean? It's still like that. That like they love seeing that difference. You know,
and we have a lot in common. Like English people and Irish people have a lot more in common.
We're literally only over the road. Like,
we have got loads more in common than what people think.
Yeah.
You know? Like even the crack side of things, like going out and having fun and doing things. Very similar.
The humor seems to be very similar as well, like which is unique to this part of the world. I think. I think London even specifically seems to be even another level of real inviting, welcoming to fucking everyone.
Because there's so many cultures.
Exactly.
There, you know, I mean, the one thing about walking through the streets of Thurles, you'll probably see the same person maybe 2 or 3 times over the course of the day. In London, you'll probably never see that person again.
Yeah, that's mad.
You may not. Now, look, you might do if you're obviously working on the same strip. But what I mean by it is like. You're always open to new opportunity and adventure over in London. It's massive. It's a massive scale of a place.
Hey, come here. Tell us, how did a coffee with Ciarain start off?
Oh, so it's quite funny. So a few years ago, obviously, I wasn't in fighting, but I wanted to do some vlogging stuff. Yeah. And I was working with someone else at the time, doing with the videos, not Dylan. And so we're going to do this thing called Coffee with Ciarain. I'm going to like, you know, just have coffee and go places. But then it faded away because I started getting back into fighting again. But then since being back into fighting, I was like, well, I want to do something else as well. Now that I'm back into fighting, I don't want to make myself sick of it again. I want to do something on top. So then I was like, right, let's bring it back. Let's do this coffee with Ciarain. Let's sit down and actually plan some ideas. And that's what we did. We sat down. We went to Barnet, actually, High Barnet there, just outside North London. And we sat down in a coffee shop. And I think we just had one drink. We're in there for an hour. And we just spoke about some different things. And we're like, right, this is what we're going to do. And then like that following few days or the week later, we just done our first one. We just went to a random coffee shop and just said, fuck it, let's see how it goes.
That's class. You also do that tea and pads. I think that's right funny. What's that young lad you do this?
Alfie. So Alfie, So
do you train him or something?
Train him a lot actually. He wants to aspire to fight soon as well.
That's cool.
I mean, there's tea and coffee have a lot of opportunity in fight sports.
Yeah. What, like, I was watching your videos. It's really cool that you do, like, I see your stories, like, and you put people you're doing personal training with, like, it's really cool though. Like, I'd imagine, like, if you were training with me, I think I'd be really motivated because you seem to bring this real charismatic sort of element to it. Like, you seem to have an ability to make people comfortable, and I think that's really important to get the most out of the training. Do you find, I don't know, how do you find doing personal training?
Well, like, the thing is, like, if you look at me from the outside in, I'm a 6'4", tattooed up by the neck kind of guy. So the first kind of judgment that people give is you're like a tough lad or hardy lad. Didn't hear the Irish accent to get all different kinds of And I think that's worked in my favour more because I've got a very out there and outlandish personality and I'm an entertainer, but at the same time, I love the pureness of entertainment. I don't like the fakeness of it, you know. So I mean, for what you follow with me is very much natural stuff. So when I train people, when they're naturally happy and they're fucking driven and they're loving life, that to me is like, that's where success comes in my head. The financial side of it is cool, and it can go high, it can go low. But it's like when you see the smile, like Alfie chanting tea and pads.
I love that shit.
Like when we go to different shows in London, people come up to him going, "Yes, Mr. Tea and Pads."
No way, that's sick.
This kid, like, you know, didn't have it easy so much in different places, you know. He's now running around going tea and pads, fist bumping all the boys that are pro fighters, telling me he's going to knock me out. And I mean, this is what it's life changing shit, and I like being a life changer kind of person, like, but in the right way.
What about like people like me, like say, are naturally lazy?
I just got to kick you up the arse. That's when it gets physical.
I do turn up. I go up to Tommy Ryan's CrossFit thing. But I naturally don't want to be there. Do you know what I mean? But
a bit of pre-workout, you'd be grand.
When I get up there, you go, turn. Oh no! But the minute then he gets you going, you're buzzing. You know what I mean? But getting into a place, you don't want to do it.
Yeah, no, I do get it.
Do you get that?
Myself. Some days, but I suppose that's where the mentality and the passion comes.
You have to just drive it.
You just have to, because otherwise, if I had that mentality, Sam would batter me tonight. You know, but the thing is, like, there's no such thing as that mentality in my mind frame. You know, the thing is, the job has to be done, and that's the way it is. And that's like the same as training. You know, if I slack that day, that's one more session he's probably getting better than what I'm getting, you know.
Well, you've always had the natural ability to stay going, because what's funny is that, like, me and you used to hang around a lot when we were younger, and the first time Ciarain went training was me and him went the very first day at the same time into like the old Pat John's old gym, Knoxall. That was the first time ever, and for whatever reason I stopped going to start doing other things, but you stayed going, and I think it's really cool to have two people go in there, and you know, I do my own thing. It was never going to be my passion anyway, but it's still really cool to think like that it's actually as simple as if you just stay doing it like you did, you can make something out of it, you know.
Of course.
And I think that's really cool to have like that example of, like, you know, like all you have to do is stay doing it, stay going training, stay.
What were you like at the start, like when you went into first day? What were you like?
Well, it's kind of a mixture of like scared and all that. I mean, I suppose. I mean, like, because I had it, like, the reasons why I went is I had like different little troubles at school every now and then. Like, you'd have, like, you know, I wasn't the most popular fella in school. Like, Ciarain would even tell you that I wasn't never like the lad who was cracking all the jokes and shit. And like, I had a bit of hassle with a few people here and there, like, you know, and like the intention was to go in there and learn how to fight and be able to fight these lads back. But I think what happened,
I remember us having a conversation about that reason why we did
and
it.
I was like, I'm gonna go do this, and he was like, really? That never happened. But but that's the joys of it. And that's the thing about Pat John as well. A big shout out to Thurles Kickboxer as well, like how homely he made it feel, but also how safe he made it feel. Cool. You know, like, he made us all feel safe as a family, and like that's why I'm delighted that he's got the Devaney brothers and all the other lads there at the gym now that are actually pushing and really trying to get a good name for it. Because besides it all, like, we might talk smack about going to fight and all this shit. At the end of the day, we're putting on a show today. It's like, we're not fighting in the car park. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go in there and give my 100. I want him to go in there and give his 100, and that's all we can ask for. I mean, the result, don't get me wrong, winning that belt when I do later is going to be banging. But
on the Devaneys,
on the church. But no, it's like, and that's what I love about the sport, and like, I've been doing it since I was 14, and the same intentions have never changed. You know?
Did it click with you straight away though? Did you?
No. Well,
just,
I mean,
you kept going and you got better.
I think what it was, the fact of hitting stuff in general just makes you feel so good.
Cool.
I suppose if you ever got annoyed and punched the wall, but you felt good for the split second that the pain kicked in. But like, you know, it's the whole thing about controlled aggression and how you can manage your aggression with your temper and with stuff that annoys you. Because at the end of the day, everyone has a temper. Everyone does. Whether it's higher or lower, everyone has one. But the thing is that people need to learn how to channel it better. You know. And like, the thing is, you go to a fight gym and you train, you're not actually getting angry. You're just releasing stress that probably will come at you in a few days' time. Letting that go, you know. And then when stress does come, you've let all that other stuff go, so you're sounding, you know.
And it just even like it is what you were saying about the place being comfortable as well. Like, I think that's really important. Like, and probably like it's cool you're saying that, talking about, like, you know, the reason for staying going on, because like I did like probably every club in Thurles at one stage, like soccer, Pickvilla, hurling, like, you know, a lot of them I stayed a lot longer than I did kickboxing, but still going into that gym was the most friendly it ever. Like, for the sport that should have been the toughest in the whole town, more than hurling, soccer and all that, there was less like nonsense fucking false, like you know, this fucking false, like, whereas you have that with hurling and soccer and all that other shit. There's something really cool, which is ironic because you would think it would be the fighting gyms you go into where it's like this sort of false macho thing.
Well, I think because when you go into the kickboxing gym or a boxing gym, it's an individual thing, like, you know what I mean? So when you go into you're training a team of 10 or 15 or however many are in these hurling teams, I don't know, I forget. But like you've kind of got people to fall back on, you got people to look after you if you're struggling.
That's true,
when you're in there, you know, you can't lie about your performance. If you're getting beaten in sparring, you can't blame it on anyone else by yourself. Or if you're acting the bollocks, everyone knows you can only blame yourself.
Yeah, like you can't hide on the pitch.
Blame yourself, but you've got to learn to talk to yourself and understand that what you're doing is right and what you're doing is wrong. And I feel like when you're in a team sport, you could almost spend a lot of time blaming other people, and that's how your life and your characteristics will go. You'll just start blaming other people. And I'm not saying that loads of sports people are like that. I'm just saying how I felt when I done hurling or football.
Yeah.
If there was a mistake made or I was having a shit day, it would be someone else's fault, not my own. With fighting, it taught me, right, manage your own fucking emotions, then carry on. Rather than trying to...
What's the actual fight like? So say like even tonight or the last fight you had, is it like slow motion in your mind?
The last fight was an absolute war, wasn't it? Oh my God, me and Dale Kingston. Wow. So that fight was at 79 kilos. That was at 6 kilos lighter than this fight.
Yeah.
That fight was, I couldn't have had a better fight to prepare me for this one. I mean, like so basically I kicked and punched my way through him, and he kneed and elbowed his way through me.
Wow.
And it was, blood. The whole 5 rounds we did not stop baiting each other. I was battered after the fight.
What's going on in your brain? Is it just pure adrenaline? You don't feel the pain?
I'm having the time of my life. I just laughing. I love this shit. This is what I'm saying. Like, people should fear getting in with me because the more you hit me, the more I enjoy it. The more I smile. I don't.
Were the 2 Upperchurch boys with you that day? Were they?
They were, surely. He was half cut. He was. He had like about fucking, was it 3 or 4 big, what they call it, big jugs of beer, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fine. He was cornering me. So Frank was cornering. He was telling me all the good things to do.
You were giving him tips.
So you're on the training team with, like, you're on his team?
Yeah.
Train together, whole pads for Ciarain, corner with Ciarain.
Ah, cool.
Soon, when I've recovered, I'll be fighting alongside him too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
brilliant.
savage. Yeah, that's class.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually Frank was meant to fight on the last show that I fought on against Dale.
Yeah.
But unfortunately he got an injury from kicking Dean's elbow. Dean, if you're watching this, it's your fault. Your fault. Why he's not fighting. It's your fault.
When it's over, so you're not in pain as such, are you?
Look,
Tired?
No, yeah, you're tired, but when it's over, like, the only thing I can do is just hug the person I'm fighting. But look, we've just shared 5 rounds of absolute mentalness together. It's so funny for me. I can never take the aggression side to fighting. I just don't get it. Like, it's no, the seriousness. It's just, you're in there having a boogie. You know what I
That's
mean?
mad. So would you disagree? Like, you hear some fighters, like, you know, and it's different for everyone. So would you be on the opposite side of, like, you hear like some Mike Tyson, some of them older school where they'd be like, you can't fight unless you want to kill that person.
Yeah, I think like you just said there, it's old school. It's a bit of an old school mentality.
Yeah.
As fighting's gone along now, fighting styles have gotten more, how would you say, creative, gotten more decorative. You know, you see these fighters with hands down, you know, moving their head more, and like, that's the diversity of fighting that's now changing over to being what it is now, and that is being an actual martial art and being a competitive sport. I think fighting back in those days was awful lot to prove to themselves because they're coming from hard backgrounds or whatever.
That's true, yeah.
You know, and like, which is, look, I've come across fighters that have come across hard backgrounds and they have that kind of mentality, which is, I'm not trying to say that you have to have the same mentality as me towards fighting. I love the lads that are bullying to fight as well, because you need them lads that are aggressive. You need them lads that look massive and aggressive. You need these lads. But the whole thing about fighting that you want, and you always want to take into consideration, is that it's for everyone. You know, you could have someone that looks like he would never fight a day in his life, but he could knock out everyone in first round, left, right, and center. You know, but then you could have someone that looks athletically fit, like Sam, but then probably can't fight. You know, it's like you can have any kind of different styles. How you look, how you act. It's just all about what it is you want to achieve. If you want to achieve fighting to be a better person and to go somewhere, fine. But if you want to fight just because you want to bait up lads and because you got no life, well then kind of reassess it, because then the minute you go through a loss or you get a bad beating, it's going to hit you hard.
Yeah, it's sort of like the whole, it's like away from, you know, it's not towards something, it's sort of away from something. You're sort of trying to defend something you don't have, is like, you know, it's like, because then when you lose that, it's twice as hard, because now you're losing your house, your financial, you know, there's like that fear there's a lot more on the line, but if you're doing it as a sort of plus, you can't really lose in a way.
The biggest fear to lose in the fight game is the mental strength. That's it. I mean, I've lost money, I've lost this, I've lost that over fighting, but I think losing your mind over it, and like when you're down in the deep and you think that no one wants to support you anymore, you think that you're no good as a fighter anymore. Like, you know, I think like as I came before I stopped fighting when I was 19, like my uncle had passed away. It was all very like a lot of shit happened that made me stop it just because I couldn't hack it, and then I found myself in a hole. And I was then viewing fighting as the wrong thing. I started going more in the aggressive route, like, oh yeah, I can fight, I can smash him up. And I'm like, why the fuck? I'm not like this. Like, it's not about smashing up to me. Like, whereas, again, other lads might have to say that to themselves to get them going. For me, a smile, a little jig at the start before I walk out, and that gets me going. You know, because at the end of the day, I'm an entertainer. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a martial artist. I'm an entertainer, because I entertain across all platforms. I'll entertain being a dancer. I'll try to dance. I'll entertain in fighting. I'll entertain just talking. You got to look at who you are as a person. I'm not just a fighter, you know, and that's what separates me from all these fighters. You know, is that I don't put myself in that category. I'm not the same as them. I'm different. You know, people want me on the show because I can talk, I can walk, and I can do all the business. You know, whether it's a win or a loss, but you'll still have a great fucking fight. You'll enjoy watching it. You know.
Just like with the whole, I'm interested. Like in, you know, do you think? Obviously, it's a silly question to ask. Like, if you'd be the same person, like if, you know, because obviously living in London is a big part that's affected you. But I'm getting as if you stayed in Thurles, do you think you would have been able to? Because you've come into yourself a lot. Like, you're very confident. Like, and as you're saying, like, you'd hassle with people. Like, people give you shit, and they wouldn't do it now. Do you know, like, and you're very.
Still do.
but you're very. I don't think they're you, and I think they wouldn't as well, because you're confident in yourself. You're comfortable in yourself, not just because of your size. But anyway, what I'm saying is, like, yeah. Do you think you would have found that in yourself as quick as you did if you were still in Thurles? Do you think you would?
No, I don't think so, because I found, like, until I moved to London and then, like, got introduced to the wider culture, I understood what people were like a bit more. I feel like when you grow up in a small area, like, look, people learn quicker than others, you know what I mean? Like, what my story could be way different to yours if you don't. You know what I mean? It's this is the joy about human lives. Everything's so different. But I feel like with Thurles, you know, I feel like I kind of would have went down a bit more of a generic route in the sense of what I wanted to aspire to in life. You know, I probably would have dropped kickboxing because, you know, maybe my patience wouldn't have held up enough to wait along for that professional offer, you know? So I probably would have went and done something else, you know. I probably would have. But then the thing is, I can't say I probably would have stayed in Thurles, because the thing is with me, I've always been a very itchy personality. I want to do more, you know. I mean, going back to the coffee with Ciarain, I mean, I always want to do new things. I want to be able to, basically my ambition is to be able to take over every industry, be in every industry. I want to be known as a name in every industry. Brilliant. I don't want to be known as staying in a lane, or he's only known for this. You know, I mean, we're on this planet once. You might as well try out
you don't want to be identified as one profession. That's my biggest fear. Is like, I don't want to be one thing. Like, you know,
still involved in construction.
Nah, my family is though.
You're not. No,
I'm not. No. So my uncle still has a lot of stuff over there. My father still works.
We're not going to have construction with Ciarain, no.
Huh?
We're not going to have construction with Ciarain.
Let's see how we're going. If the right money's offered, I can just be a construction expert. That RSJ's over there. Yeah.
That's mad. Wait, now that you're in the UK, are you? Does everyone call you Ciarain over there?
Well, this is the funny part. So, over the last few years, I've just been saying, look, just call me Ciarain. It's easier. Because people try to go, Ciarain. And now I'm making these funny noises. But now, over the last, since I've released actually Ciarain PT.
Cool.
Since I released that, everyone calls me Ciarain.
That's cool.
And I think, like, now I understand, like, I mean, before I didn't really care. I didn't care about what you called me. So you can call me a bollocks, like, you know, that was fine.
Yeah.
But like now it's like everyone's making the effort to go Ciarain and to actually spell it right.
That's brilliant.
But then we got some of my mates who just take the piss all the time. But sure, you have them, like, you know, you have all them kind of lads. It's funny, like, it's a great buzz. I love being the Irish lad in the group. You know what I mean? Because you have like every single type of nationality in our groups. Like, it's funny.
It's funny because mine, like, you know, I'm in Ireland. Mine is Ciarain, but there's Irish people who refuse to call me by my name, which is Ciarain, because it's like the English version. They call me Ciarain, but like, I am Ciarain, but it is the Irish. And do you know what I found as well in Dublin? Dublin people just can't say Ciarain. I have friends from Dublin who just naturally, it's because of their accent, they naturally fall into Ciarain. And like, no matter how many times, and we good friends with people from Dublin who just don't know, how, like, they just can't say Ciarain. It's really
saying Ciarain.
It's really weird.
I used to get people correcting me. My brother's name is Donald, so when we were in England, they go, "Don't you mean Donald?" and I was going, "No, I don't."
That's not a Trump, all right? It's okay. You mean Donald?
I love their confidence so that they could correct you on your brother's name
properly. Like, properly. And then when you tell them about Irish names, like, that sounds so stupid. I'm like, okay, whoa. I wasn't saying that about your names. Like, your names are stupid. How about that?
Yeah, it is, man.
There are some mad Irish names, aren't there, with silent B's and silent D's.
That's true.
A Z Tron on the top of it.
Bavens and all those. They're lovely names.
There's a few strong Irish names back when we were in school as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Fuelon.
Fuelon.
Yeah, that's a strong name actually. Yeah.
Like it's easy for us to pronounce them when we heard them, but if you do imagine like someone from the UK having to read that like and make sounds.
Sive with a D and a B and a H running in the middle of it. Yeah.
Everyone always goes on about Aoife and Siobhan, and I find like Siobhan is like more. I think Siobhan's like a very
weird spelling,
normal like
I think that
name.
Yeah.
But it's quite funny when you hear an English person go, "What's that? Siban." I'm like, "Oh, Siobhan." They're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Those names are so common to me. I thought Aoife was like an American name. It just sounded so common. Because it's so common here that I thought like. A lot of those names were like big American names, which is a lot because they're so common here.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them videos going out of like Americans pronouncing names like, that's Aoife. Aoife. That's a cool name. Aoife. Sorry, no insult to any Americans, but
shout out to all the
She watches the podcast.
Yeah, we have lots of people in Belgium who listen on Spotify. It's really random. That's our biggest Spotify.
Yes, Belgium.
Listeners. Shout out to Belgium.
My guys.
And Austria.
Austria. Yeah, it's weird.
We're big in Austria.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, what's your big it's a generic question, but what's your like biggest goal or dream in life? Like, do you have a thing you're imagining in your head that you want to see happen?
Just to be happy. That's the only. I mean, I think.
How do you do that? What do you need to
just
be happy?
being true to yourself and doing what you want to do. You know, I mean, I think we live in such a hypocritical world where we act a lot upon things that we don't actually truly mean to do sometimes, you know, and like I feel like the offer of opportunity sometimes kind of overtakes us a little bit, and we kind of sometimes go a little bit too far than what we need to. And I think I watched a very good video about Robert De Niro, and it was about being comfortable with what you have all the time. So just say, for example, like, I mean, right, we live in a day of social media so popular. Just say you gain 1,000 followers in one day. Some people walk around and just start shaking their chest up, thinking that, right, I'm famous now. I'm getting really good exposure. Or they might turn over £1,000 in their first little business. They're like, oh my God, I'm a businessman. I think what really I'd love to aspire to is that I can make moves professionally, happily, and still be able to do all the things in my private life and not be feeling like that I'm doing. It's I mean, like living my life as true and as pure as possible. Yeah. You know, and where there's no like looking over my shoulder because, you know, I've made a mistake with business or made a mistake with doing training or anything like that. So yeah, it's a hard thing to aspire to, but that's kind of like what I'm trying to aspire to.
No, I definitely resonate with that a lot, like, because a lot, like, I in my head, I'm so confident in myself, my ability to get somewhere that I have. Like I'll be so persistent that it happens, and I'm so comfortable in that I can imagine getting there, and I can actually honestly say that I was able to. I stop myself, even in small things. I have a success, and I have to ask myself every time, otherwise it'll go down the wrong path. Like if this like aligns with like a soul, a part of me that made me happy from a young age. Because if you have that, you know, thing when you're happy at certain stages in your life when you didn't have anything, that's probably I don't know how to explain that, but that's like. That's the stuff, that's like my measurement for who I am, not like whether I have a success as something or whether something can be successful. So I'm trying to, like, you know, check myself all the time because, like, I would say like that I'm very, you know, self-aware as a person in general, but I can actually see how easy someone could go off that, like, and be honest about that. Like, it's very, you know, I think people out there who judge like celebrities and all this stuff, or people who are doing well and say, oh, they're got too big for themselves and all that, have no idea they're the exact people that would do the same thing in that situation. So you do have to be super aware.
It's kind of hard to know your own mind sometimes as well, whether this is really the thing for me or not, or what.
I think that's the biggest ambition in life, but I don't think you'll ever succeed with it, because there's always, you know, when you come across different people and different energy systems, you don't have to talk to someone to walk past and feel if there's negativity there. You know, it weighs on you, and anyone that doesn't believe in energetic fields or energetic ways, I mean, you should look into it and start understanding it, because how you portray stuff and how you walk down the street, that offers an aura to the next person that walks past you. You know, so I mean, that's why confidence, and not arrogance, but like having that love for yourself, you know what I mean, that actual love in yourself, you have that, you'll portray that to everyone. Then everyone will start taking it off you. You start hating yourself and hating on other people, then that's all you're going to attract. You know what I mean?
I love the freedom of kind of like that you love yourself enough that you don't mind making an idiot of yourself or whatever. Because it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If you're having fun,
you're impressed.
Yeah, exactly. So like doing a podcast or whatever, like you're going, I don't really give a shit if people like it or not. And same with like you doing the coffee with Ciarain. I enjoyed that. That was fun, and just having the confidence to do it because you want to do it, and you're not worried what the hell anyone else.
Look at Sky. Do you think Sky get offended if you don't like one channel over the other?
Exactly. Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I mean, if
as long as you have fun doing it, basically is the main thing.
You know what I mean? Just work on your content. If people aren't viewing your stuff, then utilize that. Don't get angry at it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there was a time when I was posting loads of stuff and nothing was growing, but then what I realized that all my posting was so self-centered around myself. Don't get me wrong, my page is about me. I get that, but it's not about. It wasn't about involving anyone else or trying to involve funny stuff or entertaining stuff or nice people. It's just kind of just based on me, like, oh yeah, do this, do that, bam, bam, bam. And then until you realize why no one's looking at your shit, and then you go, oh right, I better scratch up on this. Then you'll work at it. But it's the people, like, don't sit there and be, as you said, like, start hating on like maybe celebrities or something like that or whatever, because then you'll just turn into something worse than them.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Because you're pushing away from whatever they are, and you don't like that, then you become the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a lot of time they're pretty, like you, for example, like it's really good. Like people that give out about people like having the confidence. Like people obviously in Thurles think we have absolute notions doing a podcast in a small little town. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like funny, but it's like whether they like what you're doing, what we're doing, or what anyone's doing. Like a part of them knows that without that there would be any progress in society, that ability to see someone that's near you, because it has like this massive effect that like, so now when people that we grew up with see that you're successful, if you're like in 5 years time, which I think you easily can be, like winning some world champion fight, and then everyone who you ever met when you were younger who like came in contact with you, now they believe they can do it because do you know what I mean, they were close to you in some way, and it's like that's a massive effect, and that's why I think it's very important.
You sort of think that people that see no progressive future have no future.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, if they're not, and that's the thing, like if anyone ever I remember when I was about to leave Ireland when I was 16. So we said, oh, I can't believe you're leaving. You're not going to aspire to nothing. I'm just kind of
Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm sat in a hotel in Cork about to fight for my 4th Irish title, and my other business is going on in London. I mean, I took your advice pretty well, obviously, you know. And it's like, the only advice you should ever take, and it's like what my dad says, he goes, whenever you see someone doing the wrong thing, you should encourage them. And the reason why is because they'll learn their lesson straight away. And never do it again. And I think that's how, and I owe that saying to my dad, and I think that saying has stuck with me for every mistake I've made, because the minute I've made a mistake or pushed out through it, I've learned from that and not did it again. Hopefully not. But yeah, so because we spend so long trying to correct others, when really, what right do we have to do that? Let them do it. You know what I mean? I mean, I know there's different wrongs that are worse than others. I'm not on about like, you know, if someone to kill someone, I let him do it. But I mean actual mistakes. Like, you know, I mean, we spend so long trying to, like, we care for people and being there and loving them. That's fine, but don't try and fucking mollycoddle them and guide them too much. Let them find their guide. Let them find their path.
Yeah, it's like the whole you can't help others. You can help them help themselves. Like you shouldn't like want to help others. You should want to be able to just do what you can to provide the space for them to help themselves, or like.
And we love making mistakes and idiots of ourselves and learning.
I love awkward moments more than anything else in the world. I love it. I don't know what it is.
Mortified.
I think it's like a blankness in the human mind. So like, because with being awkward, I would say I'm pretty okay being awkward. I mean, I'm a bit of a loud mouth anyway, but I find like even when I introduce myself to some people, I'm quite loud. They're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like you understand what people are used to and what they're comfortable with, you know. And in my eyes, being loud and all that stuff, I'm not loud all the time. I can be semi-normal, you know? But like it's just interesting. People's views and reactions to stuff is quite funny, you know? And I think having a podcast like this is actually quite interesting because you can ask a question and really make someone go
we like those questions. Okay, we've asked some weird questions to people.
Oh yeah, like what's your favorite color?
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. Why is your favorite color? That's a tough one.
Is it?
Is it
nice.
actually? Oh yeah, that's like the Ciarain PT green.
Do you know what?
Is that your brand color? Like
it's just my brand. where's Frank's after going out?
The Upperchurch boy is gone.
Upperchurch, up to church.
God, imagine coming from London.
Yeah, so I've got
being accused of being from Upperchurch. Fucking hell.
The Ciarain PT jumper is was a colour that I did, because the thing was I didn't want to go green, white, and gold.
No, of course.
It's a bit tacky, you know what I mean? But I thought
nice.
green and white. But the thing is, green and white is drum and inch.
Oh, that is nice.
That green is
so this is it.
That is so cool.
Which camera? You on that camera? Yeah.
I'd have watched that.
The link. Yeah, we'll tag the link below.
There you go.
I had a watch and a bike that colour when I was 12.
It's class.
And it was fab.
A watch
and a bike.
Motivation.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's mad.
Yeah, it's
so that'd be my favourite colour, and like even my shorts.
It's good that you got the whole brand thing down as well.
Yeah.
So my shorts for tonight.
Oh, they're really cool.
Oh,
very good, very good.
Are they sponsored and stuff? Are they sponsors on it?
They don't, but this one, I was supposed to have another pair of shorts.
Yeah.
That's my sponsor t-shirt.
Oh,
we'll have to invite all those companies for the camera time.
Yeah, that's nice. Up O'Malley College.
On the boys up the church.
Are they an Irish company?
Yeah. They're,
cool.
They're over, they do obviously haulage stuff, but yeah, they're based over the town where I live.
Oh,
they do
right,
all lorry stuff all around there.
You could get a backload off of O'Dwyer International, a good friend of mine.
No way.
Peter O'Dwyer International.
To deliver to Upperchurch as well if you ask them.
Open road logistics.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's class.
Yeah, I mean, like, the whole point with the colour green always stuck out with me, because after I left Ireland, there was some element, you know, that I obviously missed Ireland, you know. Like, it still is home in my eyes, you know, but the thing is, like, it's like, it's no insult to it, but you know, you have the Irish lads in the pub, and they sit in a pub in London, and all they talk about is the good memories at home in Ireland. I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
I've got better memories to live now going on in the rest of my life, you know, and I feel I don't. Each lad lives their own life. I never dictate or never judge them. Whatever it is, as long as they're happy, they're happy. But the thing is, you gotta kind of, if you repeat the same thing a few times, it shows you're not probably being happy in that situation.
Yeah.
If you keep repeating that, you miss this, you miss that, you want this, you want that, well then drinking loads of drink and sitting in a corner saying you miss it isn't going to help you. In fact, it's just going to make you worse.
And you know what's trippy as well? Every time you remember a memory, you're only remembering the last time you remembered it. So all they're doing is sitting in a bar, like losing the memories over time.
And it's like you start. The thing is, from when I left Ireland to here, obviously coming back to here for this weekend, I've started talking with older friends, older people I know.
Yeah.
And even the stuff that I thought were my memory, they're reminding me that there's just other bits about it. I'm like, fuck. Even in my head, I thought that memory was clear as day, but it's kind of been a bit, how would you say it? A bit
edited.
Literally edited.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just and not through like wanting to change it, but just like thinking, was it like that? Was it like this? And you just, because you can't think, you're just you're giving yourself a bit of a overview that you think of what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about talking, even like the podcasts and stuff like that. They make you think. You know what I mean? 'Cause you're trying to think back. I done one recently, the Tribe Raising the Vibe. That's actually Alfie's mother.
Oh, no way.
There's her own podcast over there. And we done one like kind of talking about my life and all the shit, like, you know, from there to where I am now. It's like, even though it's only a 10-year difference, it's been like the maddest 10 years.
Brilliant.
Like, I mean, the last 10 years of my life have been fucking mental. Like, I mean, it's just been non-stop. Go. This happening, that happening. Meeting this person, that person, you know. I wouldn't change it for the world, but the only thing I wish is that the next 10 years are fucking busier.
Yeah, that's great.
Because it's like, when you get so into a busy life, you don't fear death, and I understand why people don't, because you just want to maximize your experiences. You know, death will come and it'll get you. But the thing is, it'll come and get you quicker. Or no, it'll take longer for it to get you if you sit there and be boring. But then you've already died then. Because you're living a boring life.
Yeah.
But then when you're living that experience life where literally every second is different, every interaction is different, everything is just different and unique. You don't ever think of it then, you know. You're just alive. You're just living, you know. And I feel like because we get so involved in the systematic world and the systematic way of life and taxes and, you know, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta obey this, you gotta obey that. Fuck all that off. Understand who you are first, right? The systematic world is going to get you one day. You know, I mean, you're already in it. I mean, if they want you, they'll get you. So you might as well just have fun until they do.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's
and I think as well, I think like what I did is accepted that there is a system, and now you sort of play the game and play with it. That's why, because I was always a lot of stuff that prevented me from I'm only getting into things now that I should have done years ago, because I was very like against doing certain things, but now I'm like playing the system to beat the system. You know, like you're playing with the whole thing, because it is all one. It doesn't matter whether you're on a mountain in Tibet, like meditating, like, or you're here. Either way, it's all just one thing affecting everything anyway. So you're sort of in it regardless. So it is like, I don't know, sort of be in it, like, and be part of it, but just be the part you want in it, in a way. Like,
we're all the lead actor in our own movie.
Exactly.
And like, I think, rather than worrying about what the system or society thinks or what they're going to do, just, I mean, carry on. As long as you're not hurting anyone or you're stepping on anyone's toes in like a disrespectful way, we'll just keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the only issue where people kind of get mistaken, is like when they understand that there's a system in place, they understand there's a monopoly game that we live in, you start going into a bit of an anti-way about it, you know. You start talking bad about it. I still do. I hate the system. I hate fucking a monopoly game, and I think it's going to bollocks. I would be the first to say that and stick behind that. I don't care what happens over it. But it's understanding as well. Then in some ways you have to work with it too if you want to do different things. Other than that, like you said about Tibet, just fuck off to a mountain. If you want to be a part of it. But at the same time, if you want to be a part of it, you have to kind of understand it, acknowledge it, and try not to insult it too much.
Exactly. And sometimes you have to recheck yourself. You fall into it without realising it. You know what I mean? Into the system, you're going, oh, shite. And then you have to make an effort to kind of get out and do things, and you know. Yeah,
I think that's what makes life so non-stop, is like the stuff that we do within the system. Like, I mean, from cutting weight this week, we was walking around the town that I live in, and then, like, you know, Louisa was getting a coffee and all this stuff, and I couldn't even get a coffee, and I was like, wow, like, as a human being that isn't taking any of this materialism or this food or this stuff, I'm like, this is actually quite useless. Like, all like London and Dublin, Cork, Limerick, cities around the world are effectively useless to the human beings. And they are. We know that they are. Concrete jungles are useless to us. All they do is they provide rat races more, you know. And like from what, and every fight camp I learn, I'm like, why the fuck do I even buy this stuff? But obviously, like, when I'm not cutting weight, I can indulge. I can be a consumer. You know, I can be what the system wants me to be as a consumer and fill myself up. But then when I'm in that fight camp mentality, it makes you think a whole lot different about it. You see past the bullshit. You don't talk unnecessarily for no reason. You don't try and push shit you don't need to push, because you're just in that mind frame of that. You know who you are and you know what you need to have. You know, when you're in the system and in society, you start going, oh, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that, and you start chasing. You know, and even not just for clothes. I mean, just in general, you're looking for a reason to go out and buy something. You're looking for a reason to be out. Why do you want to be out for? Like, why do you want to be out? Is because you're too scared to be on your own? Are you too scared to sit down and look yourself in the mirror? You know, I think the system in society, people have to have a big look at that, because even with mental health, if you're struggling or anything like that, sit down and look at society and see, why am I spending so much time doing this, this, and this? What is it distracting me from? What is it stopping? Like, people say they got dreams and ambitions. Yeah, I see them in a coffee shop, like you said about coffee. But I see them in there talking with people for no fucking reason every day. You know?
I do houses, I do architecture, so I do houses, and one thing I notice about people is a kind of battle that they have. They're always designing houses for other people rather than themselves. So like they'll be having this guest room with an ensuite and all that. I said, for who? And it's like for Auntie May. I said, are you really that fond of your Auntie May? Because she's costing you about 80 grand at this stage.
And she's going to come once a year, and that's at Christmas.
I said, Auntie May, get rid of her. I said, we're cutting the guest room. You don't like her, put her up in the anner. And you know what I mean?
You should make a bachelor pad. Simple.
No, I said, no, it's not happening. True. But everybody does it. They've all this battle for living lives for other people rather than what do you really want. And I'm saying that I don't even know myself. Like,
I check myself on all the time.
Yeah, you have to. It's getting into your own brain, isn't it? Like,
you have to always ask, you know what I mean? And like, I think that's the battle I've always had with fighting, you know, is constantly coming in, you know, you want to turn up, you want to have the best fights possible. But then, like, what I started realising is, like, right, stop worrying about having the best fights possible. It just happens. Just make sure you're happy on the day.
That's it.
Know, make sure that your build-up is good. Make sure your mental headspace is good. And at the end of the day, you just have a good fight.
And enjoy it.
Like, is like, you see, like, the Conor McGregors in the world that shout and talk and all that. But see, the problem is now with that is where he's gotten to and what he's done. He's settled about a lot of what he's going to do, but now he's in a bit of a way where he's going down, but he's trying to maintain that.
He's locked himself into the standard.
And he's put himself into that personality. When all you got to do is release and go, look, lads, I'm back. I just want to get in there and start fighting again and stop putting
people
too much pressure.
People would love him for that if he, you know, exactly.
Just don't put too much pressure on yourself. I know I put a lot on social media and all stuff, but mate, I put a lot of stuff on social media because it's fun. Like all the messages, good luck today, do this, do that, do the business, boom, boom, boom. None of it's aggressive.
No.
None of it is,
cool.
I'm going to fucking hurt you.
There's great art and craft in that Coffee and Ciarain thing, even the intro and all that kind of thing, the way it's put together is.
And is it you?
Upperchurch boy here.
Upperchurch. Yeah. Imagine, so
big up the Upperchurch South African crew, man. Don't know the rude boy.
So this guy, he's from South Africa, living in London, and Hugh is accusing him of being from Upperchurch.
There's definitely Upperchurch blood there somewhere.
He really, I think you're definitely a Shanahan supporter here, mate.
No, he knows all.
He's slipping it out. He's
Under the Devaney.
He's slipping it out. No. What we'll do with the next podcast, we can have me and Sam together.
Absolutely.
I was thinking that. I would have loved that.
I'd love that. I think that'd be brilliant because we even the last fight I had, me and Dale. Oh my God, me and him had the crack before the fight. Like we were we were just outside the change room. We stood down, just leaning on the banister, and we were talking for a few minutes. And like he had his headphones on. In his head, he's getting ready to bash the fuck out of me, and then me, I'm getting ready to bash the fuck out of him.
That's class.
Like I love that talking.
It's cool.
It's normal. But I think going back to what you said about the house thing, like, you know, and people like doing shit for other people, that goes back to then, like what I was saying earlier about helping people. Like, be there to support someone mentally and physically if ever they need it. Don't be there for someone in the sense of, right, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that for you. Because then, like, every human being has a tendency to this. We rely then on that one thing again.
It's a fact.
Oh, well, I can't really do that thing unless that person helps me with that thing. You know, it could be anything as small as get me a phone number for a gardener. Like, you know you can do that yourself, but your clumsiness is going, oh, I know that thingy has a number, so I'm going to shout him very quick. And all these little things do have an effect. And look, I could be terrible for it. I shout loads of people for different contacts, so that's how I make my own contacts. Then the thing is that I try and stick by, and that what I'm very well known for is that I am the creator of contacts. I recommend people to people left, right, and centre. And I know a lot of people. But I know a lot of people because I put myself out there. And I want to get involved with people. I want to get to know people. I don't give a fuck what you do as a job. Let's just talk. And I know one day you can benefit me and help me out, and I know one day I could probably help you to throw a jab cross hook, and you'll learn. You know? And it's like, but then again, going back then to what even you're saying. What would I like to be in? Like being a fighter or being whatever. I never want to be categorized, you know. I want to be able to help people in every way possible. So then that's what it means by taking over the industry. To be like, that guy, wow. That's that guy.
Okay, so fill in this blank in this sentence. Okay, it'll be a bit morbid, right? At your funeral, right? When you've a long life of success and happiness, you've done everything you ever wanted, and someone says, he was the best blank I'd ever seen. What word would you put in there?
He was the best blank I've ever
Moustache, no?
You had the best moustache I'd ever seen, yeah.
I wouldn't say now, it's by now, but it was the best. I'd try to say focused.
Oh.
Okay,
The thing is, like, you know, my father says to me, he goes, you'll never go anywhere unless you have a focus in life.
Class.
Unless you've got an end destination or a focus, you ain't going nowhere. And I think to kind of cut the blasé bullshit words, I think focus is the main one.
That's
cool.
Because I don't, like, again, it's not about being this personality that is great or better than others. I'm no better than anyone else. You know? And the thing is, sometimes I can be below other people with how I think or how I feel sometimes, you know. And like we all have these, you know. I've got my shit days like everyone else does. Like what you see on this and how you see.
What about Hitler? You're better than him, though.
Fuck hell,
There's a few people you might be a bit better than, like, you know.
Slightly.
So you're looking down on
them. That's all the Belgian fans, probably mention them, But yeah, I think I think that's just it. Just be focused. You know what I mean?
I like that. That's
you could be in Thurles or you can be in fucking Timbuktu. You know, if you don't have a focus, you ain't going nowhere. You know, and like, that's the plan.
I know your time is
thanks
up
very
now,
much,
so we'll finish up now. So I know you're in a rush.
Perfect,
thanks for really coming on. It's good to see you and talk to you. I haven't seen you in years.
Thank you very much.
Genuinely, I think it is the coolest thing ever. Like, I hadn't seen you in years, and your Instagram popped up, and I was like, what the fuck? You're just doing, like, so well. And the second I seen your page, and just, it wasn't you doing so well, it was like I could see you had found yourself. That genuinely made me really happy that you found who you are. And I hadn't seen you in years, and it was like, this a different person, but almost in hindsight I could see that was always who you were supposed to be, and it was really cool. And I just imagined, like, going into the kickboxing gym with you for the first day and just thinking, like, that's what, like, you stayed going and found yourself, and that's really cool, man. And if people want to buy your stuff, we'll tag your we'll tag your Instagram actually in the
tag me Instagram
link below, and follow all the tea and pads and all that crap. It's really good.
Thanks for having us on. Look, I'll be back to Ireland hopefully soon. And I'll be back to Thurles. We can do a follow up.
We'll do one with you and Sam.
In the studio. Yeah.
With a cup of coffee.
Yeah, exactly. I make good coffee, man.
Yeah.
On the church.
On the Barcelona.
Yeah.
No, big thanks though for having me on, and I look forward to being on soon.
Good luck.
The church and the sound.
Thanks everyone for watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. We're for people around Thurles, Tipperary area. We're doing a festival in the park on May 21st. It's not the podcast doing it. That's a disclaimer. It's completely different. It's just a couple of people involved and other people, and we're putting on a great show. May 21st.
Tangle Around.
Yeah, the link is also in the comments below for this. Tangle Around on Facebook and Instagram, and on the back of... No, never mind. Right, see you next week. Bye.
Taste of strawberry medicine as it runs down my neck. I feel it draw me in, and when it settles on my mind, just know you'll find me there inside.